All right, so we're going to talk about CarrierBliss.com and what it is. So if you're a small carrier or an independent owner operator, if you have 1 to 10 trucks, this system is for you. EMS systems out there, they're just too bulky and they try to build too many things in them that you just don't use, and they're too expensive and they just don't work right. So there's only a few things that I use as a carrier. One, of course, is our ELD. We happen to use Motive. The other thing we use is the load board DAT, and then we use CarrierBliss.com to manage our loads. This helps us be a lot more efficient. There's no manual copying, pasting. There's no getting rate sheets from brokers and then copy and pasting that into spreadsheets and then trying to track your loads on the spreadsheets. It's very messy. It's easy to make mistakes. It takes forever to try and find your documents. So Carrier solves all of these into it. So what we're looking at here is the dashboard. So we can see the number of active loads you have. You can see the number of drivers that you have for the company. You can see the total revenue. Now this we can sort from the last 7 days. We can view by driver. We can view the last 30 days, this month, or we can put in their custom dates. You can go back as far as you want to and put in specific dates. So next thing we can see is any loads we have dispatched at this time. You can see the number of loads in transit and the total dollar value we have in transit. We can see the number of loads we delivered over the last 30 days. Again, we can change that last 7 days, this month, or last 30 days. You can see deadhead miles versus loaded miles. This is very important to calculate your profitability. We can see we're doing pretty good at 10% deadhead, not bad. Our total miles for the month at 39,000. So really good, quick snapshot, very easy to manipulate this data. Then we have some very useful charts, and you can see the revenue by load type. We can see our flatbeds are generating the most revenue, followed by reefers, dry vans, and we're not really doing any power only. We've got revenue distribution, what percent of the revenue is by flatbed, 51%, 37% reefer, another helpful metric there. And then the average rate per mile by load type. So the dry vans, surprisingly, are getting the highest rate per mile, and then it's followed by reefer, and flatbeds a little bit lower. So, but this gives you a real good indication. And if we go back further, we can see these will change based on the number of days, what snapshot you're looking at. We can see driver efficiency, which drivers are generating the highest revenue. Okay, you can see the number of loads per driver. We can see the average rate per mile, who's getting the highest rate per mile for our drivers. And then we can see the total miles, who's driven the most miles over the month. So it gives you an indication of who's pulling the greatest weight there. Next thing we're going to look at is our load board and how we actually get loads into the system. So this is the fantastic part. So to get a new load into the system, we create a new load right here, and we'll actually upload our rate confirmation. So we'll find our loads, you click on the rate confirmation, and it automatically populates all these fields with the pickup location, pickup and delivery locations, times. It'll show a map, and once we do that, it'll show up here, and then we can dispatch it to the driver. So what we'll do is choose what stage it's in. So usually, when we initially upload that confirmation, it'll be dispatched. This one happens to be in transit. It's a reefer. We have the driver assigned, and there is no dispatcher assigned, but we could select one if we wanted to. Then we put in our starting point, so your driver could be at home. So this will be a manual input where you're going to start from, And that allows you to calculate the total mileage. So all the pickup and delivery locations are already put in from the auto populate from your rate confirmation. Once that's in there, you just hit calculate here, and it automatically populates the deadhead miles. It populates the loaded miles and the deadhead miles, and it adds them together and puts in what your total miles is. And then it will calculate what your rate per mile is based on that rate. So it's very, very effective, and will save changes, and it puts it in your load board. Now this load board is so functional. If you, let's say, have a broker that calls you and says, hey, I need to look at, can you pull up load number 2327077, and there it is. You don't even have to finish it. You can say, oh, there it is. There's the load. We can go in. See, that one was actually canceled. Okay, but if we want to go to any load, you just type in the load number. You can type in by the driver, and it'll pull up all the driver's loads. You can type in by the broker, Joe's Transport. Yeah, it's a search that'll pull up anything in your loads that you're looking for. You can type in the date or whatever. You can also sort by type of load, flatbed, reefer, pull up all your reefer loads, dry vans, your power only loads, or you can do search by status, loads in transit, delivered, and then you can also sort it, put in the date, sort even further. And then the other thing you can do is sort down here and just easily see, oh, there's my canceled loads, or I can see in transit and delivered just by clicking these buttons here, or you can just sort by the load type there. You can sort by invoice number. I like to always leave this with the most recent invoice up on top and in descending order there, so you can see everything in order. This is very, very useful. The next thing, we have our driver tab, where we can easily put in the drivers, and here you can put in whether they get paid as a percentage of the rate or they get paid per mile. This is very, very helpful. So on this tab here, you can add drivers or remove drivers, and you can adjust their compensation to be a percentage of the rate, or you can pay them per mile. You can adjust that here. So you put in all their information, and you just select right here, percentage of rate or pay per mile, and then you can put in what their rate per mile is. And you can adjust that for the different load types. So, maybe reefers, you pay them a percentage, it's a little lower because you pay more for gas, so you have to lower the rate a little bit, but you can adjust them all right here very easily and just save the changes. Okay. Next is your team, and you can add users, you can add admins, and you can select what type of user they are, admin or a dispatcher. You can add dispatchers and give them their own logins here, and you can also edit the dispatcher and put in what they get paid. The next feature is the billing feature, which is really cool. So once a load is marked to delivered, you can come in here and click on the load, and if you use a factoring company, you put in the date factored. You can add charges, if there's any layover, lumper, tarp charges, or anything additional, you can add that here and create your invoice. Okay, so that once it's factored, you know that you're getting paid on that load. It's got a date in the date factored field. Once you've filled it, factored that load, then you can go to your settlements and see all your driver settlements, and if you've paid them or not. And here's how you generate the settlement. You go to select the driver and put in their the date where they delivered the load, and it will pull up the detail. You can add items there to pay them. You can put in additions or subtractions from their rate, and then once you've done that, you hit export PDF, and it opens up their pay statement. You can see very nice. It'll have your company's information on there, what the rate was, and you can redact the rate if you don't want them to see the rate if you're paying um, per mile. But if you're paying on a percentage basis, then you'll want that rate in there so they can see they were paid based off of that rate. Okay, then you go in there and mark it as draft, pending, or paid. Then on the subscription tab, you can see the different subscriptions we have. If you're 1 to 2 trucks, $29 a month, 3 to 10 trucks, we're at $69 a month, and so on. So if you go to CarrierBliss.com, you will see a button to say start free trial. You don't have to put any credit card information there until after your 14 days is expired. Once you've signed up, if you say that's not for you, you can always cancel the subscription, and no questions asked, your subscription is canceled. But I know once you get on here, it's going to be a lifesaver for you, and you're going to love it. The last tab is your settings, where you can upload your company logo, put all your company information in there, and it even has text notifications for your drivers. So that's another feature of this site that I didn't show. Once you dispatch the load, your driver is going to get all that information on their mobile phone in the app. It's going to show them all the essentials they need for that load, pickup and delivery times, the route, and it's got everything they need to know there. So that's CarrierBliss.com in a nutshell. You can reach out to us for more information. You can email admin@ssrlogisticsllc.com, or you can call Mark at 442-322-4292.